Look at that.
What?
Isn't it cool?
Yeah. Well, hello, everybody. I'll give everyone a minute to hop on in here. Let me make sure that I usually try and put that link 3 times. Let people know. Did it pop up? Yeah, it did pop up on the screen. Okay. Cool. Very good. All right, let me create a post real quick. And yes.
What? Bam Margera is back? I thought he was missing.
No, he went to rehab.
Well,
hello, everybody, and Convict's Thoughts with A.R. Hayes. Welcome, everybody, as you hop on in here. We'll give everyone a minute to come on in, and then we will be talking about the text messages from yesterday. Hey, ZJ coming in hot. All right. Yes, we love you all too. But yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome to the True Crime Talk Show, brought to you by Thought Riot Podcast. My name's Brendan.
I'm Malia.
And welcome to the show. So we're gonna start digging in here. And for anybody that is just hopping in, just a reminder, if you're having a good time, please hit that like button and leave a comment under the videos. They do so much more than I can even explain to you guys. They help our videos get seen and get out there. And even if you just leave an emote or a hi, hello, something like that, I still respond to every comment. And they help a ton. So thank you ahead of time if you have a second to leave a comment under our videos that you watch and hit that like button. You can find us on literally every social media social media and podcast platform. We are /Thought Riot Podcast on all of them except for Twitter. We are /Thought Riot Pod. So one other area, hang on one second here. Profile. I want to make sure I actually post this. Bam, there we go. Twitter, baby. And then for anybody else, we also have a Discord. So if you're somebody that doesn't always get alerts from YouTube, like most people, I think we all deal with that. I think we literally all deal with that. You can hop on our Discord where we continue the conversation. And hey, looks like we have another creator in here also. Hello, Art of Deduction. But you can hop on our Discord, and you need that invite link that I just posted. You can't get in there without it, okay? So click that, and if you're not sure where to go, or you're confused by Discord, like most people are at first, I always suggest people go on YouTube, look up Discord walkthrough, and you'll be able to see kind of how it's managed and what you do from there. Now, the one other alert platform that we use is our Patreon. Now, we have a couple tiers on our Patreon, but we do have a free tier. So we do not expect people to pay to come hang out with us. There is a free tier in Patreon. Discord is completely free, and we enjoy everybody. We enjoy everyone's minds. So hop on there. Make sure you're not missing any alerts for when new videos come out, and yeah, we'll get into it. So I'm gonna post a video, okay, with the with the text messages. And the reason I'm going to post a video with the text messages is because Character Analysis posted it. I don't want to take any views from her. She is tagged in our video because that's where we first heard of it. So shout out to her. But that video is not slowed down enough. It is not slowed down enough. You can barely make sure you're getting all of the text messages to read. So I downloaded the video, put it into the editing software. I slowed it down to 10%. It turned it into a 45-minute long video. I'm not going to have any sound behind it or anything like that. But everyone will at least be able to read everything and see everything. You know what I mean? And I will post that out there probably tomorrow. We aren't going to release it. There's not going to be any fancy editing or anything like that, but we want you guys to be able to have access to the text messages so you guys can see what's going on, right? As we're talking about them. So I do want to highlight something though, because quite a few people had called me out for not wanting to talk about the Dylan Mortensen part, where supposedly, if these are real, okay, I know a lot of people have said they're real, a lot of people have said they're not real, all right, but the Dylan Mortensen part, where Steve, if it is Steve, says that they're supported and backed by really important, really powerful people. The reason why I don't want to talk about that is because that is like, that's a third party accusing someone of accusing someone. You see how like dirty that comes off? That's a gunked up situation. So you have a third person accusing someone of accusing someone when I don't even know if that someone is the original person. I don't even know if it's really them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't see how it's third party.
Well, we're the third party talking about it because we
Okay.
weren't involved in that situation. So
I just don't think talking about it means you have to partake in accusing.
no, you're right. You're right. I just don't feel like I can give any commentary on it because one, I don't know if it's real yet. I don't know.
We don't know if any of it's real though.
So all my theories are going to be based on, well, okay, if it is Steve and he does feel like that, then, you know, I tend to give him a pass because he's going through probably the hardest thing that somebody could ever go through. So whether his decision was smart to talk to this person or not, that's null and void, right? Because he's going through a trauma, a horribly traumatic situation. And, you know, when you lose somebody, sometimes it's nice to just talk about them in any fashion, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a hard time condemning him, putting him down for saying any of that stuff when in reality, when I'm looking at it, like I don't understand what that even means, that they're protected by powerful people. What does that mean? Does that mean that 100% we have two people that are guilty and there are people that are stopping them from being prosecuted? Does that mean that they have an established legal counsel that backs them? Does that mean that they're completely untouchable and unwilling to be called to the courtroom, which we already know isn't true because one of them was called? Like, what does that mean? You know what I mean?
I mean, I think what the messages we're getting at, you know, again, don't know if they're real, is that the roommates, the survivors, according to the supposedly two grand jury members that Steve talked to, according to these messages, that the roommates caused more questions than answers. And, you know, Brat in the messages said basically she thought Dylan was super, super shady and possibly involved and needed to be investigated. And Steve, while he never said anything like that, he did say, well, yeah, they caused a lot of more questions. Like, their story doesn't make a ton of sense. They were texting the whole time. The grand jury felt like they just made them way more confused. Um, and that they were backed by powerful people, so they weren't, I'm assuming, they weren't able to be investigated as thoroughly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm assuming. But it's hard to talk about these messages without knowing the validity of them at all.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
appear to have a lot of the things that were talked about in the Howard Blum article, and within those messages, from Norton, it says, I'm working with Howard Blum. Would you talk to me? Asking for Steve to participate in her working with Howard Blum. And then she stops working with Howard Blum, supposedly, but then supposedly sells these messages.
Yeah.
Something interesting that I posted to our Discord back when there were things going on. Do you remember the whole situation with the supposedly faked text with the Macy May person? And me and you were trying to figure out how that little reply bubble was popping up.
Yeah, I do. I remember that a little bit.
Um,
Yeah, what about it?
well, they had posted to their Facebook page, the Goncalves family,
Mhm.
a post that said, they so hold on, let me find the part where it talks about it. Okay, so we recently were made aware of some messages claiming to have fabricated texts from Steve, as well as trying to incite others to spread lies. While we understand the internet is a big place and people are free to say whatever they would like, we personally feel a line was crossed and we'd like to pursue further action. If anyone knows any more about these screenshots, knows who created them, what they say, etc., and will feel comfortable sharing them with us, we'd be extremely appreciative. Everyone has
Oh,
their right to their own opinions, but lives, careers, relationships, etc., can be ruined over maliciously spreading false information for no reason other than to be hateful.
yeah.
Because remember, Steve called out Blum
Yeah.
and said, I never worked with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I
And Blum
do.
had to respond. And Blum said they came from someone close to Steve, someone who had had his trust and was talking to him.
Yeah.
So I think, we were looking for any kind of response that we could find on the internet to see if the family had posted anything, and we couldn't really find anything. I found one post on their Facebook page that was kind of like very indirect, like saying, it quoted a Bible verse and was kind of like, people are going to do evil things, and we're going to
Unfortunately,
be faithful to God. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to worry about us over here, kind of thing.
yeah.
And I think I think we have to go back to that situation where there was that issue between Blum and Steve about this. Because
Maybe
I
I
wondered this whole time if
look,
they were not faked and then sent to Blum
well,
and then leaked to the
well,
public.
well, here's the thing, okay? So, yeah, I don't want to bring Blum into this, okay? And we'll go through some of these. Like I said, this is a 45-minute video, you guys. But if you look right here, okay, you're not friends. Do we really think that Steve would be one comfortable enough to share that information and they aren't even friends? This feels like personal information. I just see a lot of things in here that brought up a lot of questions to me, okay? And maybe these are real. And I still feel like, you guys, like, if we can't be understanding that a parent lost a child and that's going to cause them to act funky, then like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I feel like, one, whatever is said in here, okay, and let's assume these are real, okay? Let's just assume they're real. There are multiple spots in here where I know for a fact what's being said is not true. For a fact, what's being said is not true. So again, we're looking at text messages from somebody that has a part of the story, a piece of the story here,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So we again, how can we judge this person? It's like what we were talking about yesterday when I kept bringing up, people that believe Bryan Kohberger is innocent versus people that believe Bryan Kohberger is guilty. I think both sides need to be totally understanding and willing to communicate openly, respectfully, honestly about this. Because when you watch our very first video on the Idaho 4, our very first one, where all I had time to do was read the PCA, I thought Bryan Kohberger was guilty, okay? I thought for sure he was guilty. And that dang PCA had everything I needed. Like, oh, they got him at the location. They got that, like they had everything, right? DNA on site. But then when you start digging into each one of those pieces of evidence, then you're like, oh, wait, hold the phone. Everyone stop. Something's up here. Okay. So people that believe he's guilty, they might not have the time to dig into these things, right? They're looking to sources like mainstream media. They're looking to sources like, I mean, maybe they don't have time to read through hundreds of court documents and they only read through the PCA. I don't know, but I think it's important for us to be understanding in these situations. And I think that's part of the reason too why I had a hard time wanting to talk about the whole Dylan Mortensen, Bethany Funk thing, because I feel like even if this is Steve Goncalves, he's looking he's looking at them through this, okay? He's looking at them through a keyhole and doesn't have all the information. And I just want to be careful with that, right? Because I never want to come off accusatory. I never, ever, ever want to be disrespectful. And it goes against everything that I believe in, that every topic can be talked about, but it can be talked about in a respectful fashion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I hear you. I don't know. I wonder if they're talking
So
about these.
so what's also interesting is you see right there, it says June 2nd. So that would be June 2nd, 2023.
Yep.
When the Blum articles came out, it was like October time in 2023.
Okay. Okay. So what, 6 months later, 5 months later? Which is
I
a
mean, it's
a
like
respectable amount of
4
time.
months.
Is June, July, August, September. Okay, 4 months, yeah. Don't ask me to
Like,
track
so
date.
all of these messages happened, if they're even real, happened in a very short amount of time and were sold to Blum.
Yeah.
I almost feel like when Steve didn't want to work with her, with Blum, like if Brat even has anything to do with this, um, I think possible motivations could be like, okay, you don't want to work with me, then I'm just gonna like, gain your trust and then use your
Yeah.
messages.
Yeah, and I do just want to say, look, if this really is Steve Goncalves and Brett Norton, I'm not judging anybody, but would I personally ever have let a conversation out where I felt like I was having a trusted, confidential conversation with somebody? I personally wouldn't. There's nothing in the world that could make me put that out there. I would be the type of person where I'd be like, look, yeah, I had this conversation, but unfortunately, I'm not going to share it, you know? So I don't know the reason behind this. Character analysis did leave a comment from our video that we premiered yesterday. And gosh, what did it say? Of course I'm gonna forget. She said it was about some kind of drama. Something came up where she's character analysis says Brett Norton got called out, like, hey, you weren't talking to Steve. So she showed these as proof that she was, or something like that. And that's what caused it. So strange, I I hope it's not that, but I don't know. That just sounds like
Really petty and stupid.
yeah, yeah. We're talking about like real human lives here. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think there's this culture in the true crime community where like people need to feel like they're right, you know, and I'm not gonna talk about anybody else, just myself, you know. I don't care if I look right. It means absolutely nothing to me. And and I'm gonna be the first one to tell you guys that I'm gonna be wrong a lot. Okay. I am absolutely gonna be wrong. But the one thing that I can commit to is that when I'm wrong, I am not afraid to say that I'm wrong, and I'm not going to try to cover it up. I'm going to learn from my mistakes and me being wrong with you guys, you know? And I hope that's what we can be here is when you're going through science and when you're learning and trying to figure things out, let me tell you, you're wrong a heck of a lot more than you're right. Okay. And just being able to be okay with being wrong, I think does a lot and goes really far.
Yeah, I people get really upset when they get called out for being wrong, and I don't know why that's so
I just wish it
upsetting.
wasn't like that. Without coming off judgy, I just wish people didn't feel like they needed to fight to be right in that
Yeah, but
way.
in the same respect, like if you want to prove somebody wrong, you have to present evidence.
Well,
You can't just make the argument and not give any, because I feel like a lot of times, like, people try to discredit things with just their opinion.
yeah,
That's not enough to, like, necessarily make somebody else change their opinion,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, and
Just because you think you're more logical, like, what even does that mean?
this is the video speed that I'm gonna be posting you guys, so you guys will definitely be able to read everything. Okay, so this is slowed down to 10% here. All right. So it should give everyone enough time to pause everything. I'm gonna go past this pretty quick though. I don't there's a bunch of junk on this page.
Yes, Christina, you do need to go back and watch the cell tower and, cast videos. They were really good. Very
And
informative.
whoever this person is, I know that the general consensus is that it's Brett Norton. I have no idea. Okay. I'm not here to talk about Brett Norton. Whoever this person is, that you can tell through the messages they really wanted Steve or whoever's on the other side to talk to them. You know, there's a lot of like, hey, you can trust me. Hey, you know, I'm this, I'm, you know what I mean? Just trying to get Steve to want to have the conversation. So I thought that was interesting. I think that it would be interesting to just remove all of those messages and just read Steve's, and I feel like that shows a
Oh,
lot.
that's what I did. I only read the blue text here and there for context, and
Yeah.
other than that, I focused on, supposedly Steve's, and yeah, because it's just so much, like, when you read all the blue, like, look, that's like every other message.
Yeah, I see some people asking about and you even said this too, that um faking this, right? Like the effort that would go in. It could be a lot of effort, you guys. You got to remember that we're now in an age where AI reign is king, queen, okay,
True.
is royalty. Where all you have to do is type in a code and give the outline of what you want this program to create for you. So what it would look like is, you know, I'm not going to put it in code language like you would be doing if you were creating it, but you would say, you know, uh, control, uh, create a Facebook Messenger conversation between this person here, and then you can put the tag, and this person here, and you can put the tag. Give me a conversation that is a span of 6 months with between 5 and 15 messages a day talking about this topic, this topic, this topic, this topic, this topic. Now, what's great about software programming and AI, you guys, is it will create something, and then you go into that creation and you make edits and adjustments where you want. So, like, would it be horribly hard to create this? It would be horribly hard to create the software that would create this. But this itself, if you already had the programming, I don't think it would be as hard as you would originally think. So,
I just posted our email in the chat, guys.
oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so he says, yeah, but the SUV was there hours before. They're talking about the SUV in Linda Lane. Let me see here.
So I think somebody said in the chat, Mimi, that I think you're saying you watched one of Brat's lives recently, and she said that it's no secret this was somebody trying to hurt her reputation, and it wasn't her.
Oh, Brat said that? Okay.
Apparently in a live.
Possibly. I don't know. One thing I do know is I know for whatever reason, character analysis and Brett Norton have gone, blow for blow. I'm not really sure why. I don't know. The drama stuff doesn't hold my interest as much as like the objective fact-finding evidence does. But
All I can say is will never trust somebody who attacks people for the way they look.
don't know what that means, but I agree with you. So will Chat GPT solve this case? Man, Chat GPT can solve a lot of things, let me tell you. And the thing is, with Chat GPT, you guys, for one, I do pay for it. We don't use it in the podcast because we're unscripted and try and hold true to that. But I use it for a lot of other things that are really helpful. And even that paid format, that is a fraction of what Chat GPT can actually do. You're getting like 5% of its full capabilities. Its full capabilities are absolutely insane.
You know how people were taking Chat GPT and they were using that before you had to pay for it. And they were taking whatever the coding, I don't know how it works, and then creating their own things out of it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
do you have to pay to get that,
yeah,
to buy the Chat GPT whatever?
the
And then
quality between the paying Chat GPT and the free one is massive. Okay, I see a couple of people asking what is Chat GPT. So Chat GPT is AI. Okay, it is I don't know if I can pull it up, but it's a chat. Okay, you're talking directly with a computer. You log in, you can ask that computer questions. So and let me just give you an example of the range of questions. Okay, I could log in there and say, hey, Chat GPT, so tell me about this crime. In fact, don't just tell me about this crime, but because I'm supporting a podcast, give me a 30-minute podcast outline having to do with this crime, including the objective evidence, the argument of the prosecution, and the defense's approach. And it will literally feed you this really long 30-minute conversation of whatever you're talking about. So another thing is, you can ask Chat GPT to give you a piece of art, like create a piece of art for me in this fashion. And did I say thank you? I think I did. Thank you, Moto Man. Sorry about that if I didn't. But and then Chat GPT, let's say that you wanted to create software coding. Okay, I could go into Chat GPT using this as an example and say, okay, Chat GPT, I would like you to create a chat, and I want the chat to look like it's a conversation between this person and this person, and I want it to look like it's on Facebook Messenger, and I want it to be over a span of 6 months, and I want it to be between 5 and 25 text messages a day for 6 months worth of time. I don't know if it could really create that. Okay, I've never done something like that, but I think that the possibilities are real.
I mean, but the actual messages here, like,
yeah, I hear you. And that's why,
because they're all in context. Like,
I get it. Look, I get it. I'm just trying to give alternate theories. So please don't take what I'm saying as true, you guys. We tried to verify this, okay, when we found it. We tried and tried and tried. There is nothing out there verifying it with 100% certainty that I'm confident staking my claim in and saying, hey, this is false or this is real. I don't know, you guys. But there is very detailed information that we're going to be going through, like this right here. Okay, Steve if it is Steve is on the left, and they're talking about that Kaylee and Jack D were at a pool party. Did you ever hear about Dylan and Bethany? Christy has a photo from it. And then right here it says, we talked with 2 grand jury members that helped calm the nerves a lot.
Did you even answer the question if ChatGPT will solve this case?
How am I supposed to answer that? I don't know. I'm not ChatGPT. I have no clue. I personally haven't been allowed to play with ChatGPT with all the bumpers taken off. So I just want people to understand, like, with the ChatGPT that they're seeing, the free version, that's not even 10% of what it can do.
It is
People
super,
don't understand.
Yeah, but it is super biased, I've noticed.
Oh, ChatGPT is absolutely biased right now. Absolutely.
It's super bad.
Yep. And
if you ask it
it's
certain
also
questions
wrong sometimes too.
It is wrong sometimes.
You got to remember where ChatGPT is pulling its information from, and that's where you can understand the bias of an AI program, because the information that a program is receiving is going to be the information that it knows and holds true. Now, that information could be biased or flawed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we have Phil said that he sent something from, did you say it was an astrophysicist? Yeah, laying out in an hour plus format that AI is not real. Did you see that?
Oh man, you guys are,
that's interesting.
You're trying to pull me into a philosophical debate, all right?
I'm just curious if you saw that.
ChatGPT isn't actually real, but is it real enough to have coding and programming within it to function in a way that would be similar to a consciousness? I don't know. I would need to see the coding myself, and then not to mention that amount of coding is like, there's this idea that Chat GPT is like a black, well, not Chat. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't condemn that company. There's this idea that AI is actually a black hole, that once you turn it on, it can't not constantly evolve. And because the fact that humanity is so unorthodox and subjective, that therein lies the problem, where you're going to have this perfected program that can't not evolve itself, that is going to cause, like, humanity to be null and void essentially. But when it comes to the real argument, I guess it depends on what the definition of real is. Sorry, I get pulled into philosophical conversations. I like them, but
well, I was just mentioning it so I didn't forget.
Yeah, so that text is interesting. We've talked with 2 grand jury members that helped calm the nerves a lot. 2 grand jury members. Hey, it looks like we have a new subscriber. That's awesome, and welcome. I wish it showed when we had new subscribers. The GPT rabbit hole is real. It sure is. Let me tell you. So it says here that they have him, and
thank you, Moto Man, for the super chat.
Yes, thank you, thank you. So Steve says they have him buying the K-bar and trying to hide how he purchased it. What have you heard about the protected witness? So this is interesting, you guys, and you aren't going to know these parts yet, but you know how later on we see biased information where whoever this is, right? We're just going to say Steve, says in here that Ann Taylor is putting out the character assassination content that we see against Bryan, trying to make the prosecution look bad, which, dude, that is clearly the prosecution saying that information. But so we know that there's some flawed, biased view there. If this really is Steve.
Well, yeah, if that's even real, I don't know. Like, so I have a really interesting thing I saw today. But anyway, I'm not going to talk about it completely because I want to talk about it tomorrow on the podcast. But it was basically a video, and somebody reached out to Bill Thompson to request for comment on something. And I actually thought he would give it over and he did not right away. He might still. He's determining whether he's going to give it over or not, but he didn't just say, "Okay, yeah, here you go." Or like I don't know. I think that they don't want things known. I don't know if the prosecution is leaking stuff as far as footage, like legitimate evidence. I can see them
Dude, yeah,
doing some
right.
character assassination with the media, but
Yeah, but that's the thing is look, so we are a bunch of vultures, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that
no, we totally are.
when it comes to this case, any information that we can add to our cork wall of pins, we want and we want to consider, okay? Because we are that interested in our justice system and making sure that there's not a monster out on our streets. So when I'm looking at that situation there, I don't think any information that has been put out in a character assassination way has been real. None of it. Like that story. Oh, guys, we have it confirmed that somebody talked to this girl who said she's worried because Bryan Kohberger could have her nudes because he installed cameras, and this is confirmed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That is the kind of information that the character assassination attempts have been coming out with, right? And we really think that this is the defense who doesn't have all the discovery, but it's the defense who has time to not only gather the discovery that they currently have, but put out information in a way where they're trying to discredit the prosecution. No, the prosecution is just doing that themselves because their case looks that bad, you guys.
Bill Thompson himself said that he would not have all of the discovery until August.
Yeah, but
so for any
the lawyer even said that every prosecutor is going to say that they're playing games. Not in the terms I just said, but essentially that's what the lawyer said.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well,
which we know that. We know
I
that.
believe it's Scott Reich. He's a lawyer, a defense lawyer with a YouTube channel, and he mentioned that today in a video, and he was like, how he said, I called it from the beginning. He said he said exactly what you said. She should have done the speedy trial. They were not ready at all.
I agree.
They were not ready at all, and he would have had a chance. He said, now at this point, I think he's toast, basically.
I think they should have done the speedy trial too. I think that the speedy trial, even if he got convicted, would have been an immediate retrial, you guys, because you know how easily it would have been to make it look to prove that the prosecution didn't have their case together, that they didn't have everything that they needed to prove that Bryan Kohberger is the guy. It would have been an automatic retrial, even if he was convicted. So I personally think the speedy trial would have been the best route to go.
I think the
really
lawyer,
do.
is a little bit conspiracy brained, but tries to really rein himself in and not let it show.
Maybe.
I totally think he is.
Maybe.
Because he'll say things and then be very diplomatic about it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go there. There's channels you can go to for that kind of stuff.
And Jennifer L with a $5 super chat. We appreciate you. You are amazing, and we're super stoked that you're here. Says, I think it would be super possible that two people really had this conversation. Screenshotted and then pasted Steve's info over the true people in the convo. I agree with you. I think that is a reality. I really do. Now we have people that seem to be close to the situation, like character analysis. Well, I believe she is saying she's closer to the situation than like you or I are. But she claims 100% they're real. I just haven't seen anything to confirm that and put my stamp of approval on it myself. I don't know. But do I think this can be faked? I do. I do think it's reality for these things to be faked. Have I personally seen messages faked before? Absolutely. I personally have seen messages faked in a similar fashion. Absolutely. That's why I was pointing out in the beginning that that screen shows that they are not friends. Okay. If you're sharing and having this bonded moment with this person and sharing information like this, and like you guys aren't even friends on Facebook, I don't know. It just feels a little bit weird to me, but it is what it is, you guys. We just want to hold true to our axiom, and if it's out there, we want to talk about it with you,
Yeah, and I hope you're well too, Cynthia. And yeah, this case is getting weird. But here's the thing: is we know that Steve has talked to a lot of people.
He is very vocal.
He's
It
talked to
makes
a
me
lot
feel
of
for
people
him because I think that
because not everyone is out talking to him for the right reasons. Not everyone is
yeah,
going to keep that private. Um, so I think he talked to a lot of people trying to figure out what was going on here.
yeah,
He had a lot of people making promises to him, like you see in these messages, like, I want justice for your family so bad, and I'm doing everything I can do to help you. And as a grieving father, I can see how that could be tempting with all these people acting like they have some kind of answers for you. And like they're here to help you.
I feel for him, man.
Yeah, it's a really hard place to be as a human. I honestly can't even imagine what that would be like.
He comes off a little
Um,
bit conservative to me, like he, just, and the reason why I say that is just because he's made comments like the alpha comment and things like that, where I really think he believes in this idea of like the man of the household and everything. I'm not saying I don't. I'm just trying to define what I think Steve believes in. So when I'm looking at him as a person being a part of this family unit, it makes sense to me that he would be the guy that would be the get up and get at him type guy. We have a problem here, so I need to fix that problem, and that could cause
yep.
what you're talking about, where he felt the need to get out there and start talking to people and doing it himself, because there's no way that he was going to allow this situation to continue and there not be somebody who is justice for his daughter in this way, and it makes me feel for him. It really makes me feel for him. So and we have a super sticker. All right. Summer Jade coming through with the super sticker. We appreciate you and super happy that you're here with us. All right. So they have him buying the K-bar and trying to hide how he purchased it. Okay. I would be really curious about that, right? Have you heard about the protected witness? And he says it's all on camera. From what I've been told, okay. All of this, I think, is from what I've been told. His car, Murphy freaking out and him taking off at 421. Interesting, right? And there's this conversation that's going on in the community right now where they're saying that you're going to see a car that has a sunroof where Bryan Kohberger's didn't, or was it flipped? It's one or the other, okay?
I don't remember.
So, was it Bryan Kohberger's Hyundai Elantra? He continues to talk about the witness, saying that the FBI warned me they don't play games with protected informants. Let's be real here. That's fair. Like, if you're a federal informant, I don't think that's a space that you should be, just ignoring law.
I'm not worried, Heather. She said she was going to come out with some of our own faked messages.
Yeah, I think we did create faked messages before. And then he talks about, have you seen this? This is one of the Linda Lane cameras, you guys, with the 3 people walking. I think everyone's seen this, 1228. So depending on when the crime is, that's pretty far away, right? At least a couple hours. And then this is the video where we saw the BMW drive down here, right? Can you guys see my mouse? Yep. We see a BMW come down here, do a 3-point turn, roll down the window, an arm come out, throw something in here. I personally don't think it has anything to do with the crime, but I do think that it could be just local drug pickup or something, And then you see this person, this hooded individual come, use a flashlight, I believe, in here. I think it was a flashlight, grab something and take. Yeah, he had a flashlight, so you could see it on the ground there, and then take off.
Didn't see that, Phil. You just send it to Discord, please.
Yeah. So what do you think? I think another really important thing here is that Steve shows how much he's angry at Ann Taylor if this is real. And that is textbook 101, the prosecution talking to him.
I mean, I think it would be hard if you think that, you know, this person killed your child to not hate
Not for me, but I
the
get it.
defense,
Yeah.
you know? I feel like that's a issue in America a lot. Like a lot of times when I'm watching mainstream media, or people who are very pro prosecution, they act like defense lawyers are like the devil.
The scum of the earth. I
Yeah,
know. I
like
know. It's really unfortunate because it's a really tough job.
why would you ever act like that? Like, you know how the legal system is supposed to work. You should honor their job.
I agree with
They're
you.
doing
I agree with
incredible
you.
work. Like,
And
come on now.
but the amount of anger that he has towards Ann Taylor, I think shows that there's some kind of conversation. And you guys got to remember, this is a really important thing to remember here. Just imagine how the prosecution's case would look if the victims' families were coming out and against it. Can you imagine that? Do you know how quick the tides would turn? There would be massive problems.
Yeah.
If the victims' families came out and were like, look, we don't know what the state and the prosecution's doing. They're full of it. They got the wrong guy. Can you imagine what that would do? That would blow it up. Okay. So if I'm the prosecutor, I need to keep these people close enough. Okay.
Yeah, but clearly at an arm's length at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this idea in these text messages where, again, if it is Steve, where he's saying that this leaked information coming out is the defense, that proves, in my opinion, that the prosecution has a hand in this character assassination. Which, look, I'm not putting anybody down. I think it's a very common tactic right now. I'm just surprised. I'm surprised to see it in a capital case, a state case. But it is what it is. I think it's a big time. I wonder if Steve came to the table and mentioned what a lot of people have been saying, that, look, are you guys putting out this information because your case is this week? And the prosecution's response would be something along the lines of, no. If anything, more than likely, it's the defense putting that out to make you think what you're thinking, It is wild.
That's
it is
dirty.
wild. And just so you guys know, there's supposedly a video of the night of the crime in here. I didn't edit none of it except for that video. I heavily edited that video, trying to make it as visible as possible, okay?
Yeah, because it's so dark.
Oh, gosh, it's so dark. Here, where are we at? We're at 250. Is that the video? Yeah, that's the video. So this is heavily edited when it comes out, you guys, right here. I changed the color, the contrast, the warmth. I changed a lot to even make it visible. It's a strange video.
I'm so curious whose TikTok account that is. I tried looking it up. I can't find it. I can't find anything on this video yet.
Nothing.
Not yet. I'm gonna do a little more digging on this video from this account. But so far, nothing. Like literally nothing.
This is a table, you guys. So
with Sunny D on it.
Yeah, with two Sunny D's right here. and then you'll see a girl sitting in a chair right here and a guy standing right there. There is nothing like in this. I couldn't hear anything. And the audio that's on here, I turned it off, okay? Because it is, in my opinion, when you take the audio out of it, there's nothing substantial here. But in that audio, it is heavily heavily edited and manipulated, and I can't even fix it with my skills trying to. It's like somebody took an audio and did record, 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 record. It's like and then squished together.
Well, it sounds like it's been sped up and distorted heavily. Like, it sounds metallic. It sounds like like you're in a
Person
tunnel and super high pitch.
and a guy.
But the audio is still on character analysis. It's just so fast, like you can't hear much. But
Yeah.
even with it slowed down, you still can't hear anything. It's just really
I just
like hurts your ears.
do you know if they even had this picture that says city in 1122, you guys? This is city.
Or is that supposed to be like in the frat house or something?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Is that like a
man.
beer pong table? Like, you know what I'm talking about? One of those fold out tables? Or is that like a table?
I don't know anything about this video, you guys.
No, we don't know anything.
And it says that this is a small clip of that night. Okay, so we're talking about the night of the crime. My automatic assumption when someone says that is that they're trying to suggest it's in the house, maybe. But where's character analysis video so I can show everyone how much cleaning up I had to do.
What are the messages around that video again? Well, we can go back and look at it in a second. But
yeah, hang on. I want to show everyone.
Just disclaimer, it's in the supposedly leaked Steve, Goncalves messages, and we don't know what that video is. Like, I have no idea. I tried digging into it and I can't find it. It is allegedly Dot taking the video. Okay. I got to look back at the messages around that video to try to remember.
Okay, so look at how much cleaning up I had to do, you guys. So
yeah, it's super dark.
Yeah. Why is it not letting me show these two here? Hang on. Let me see if it'll let me pull up both. No, it won't. Okay, but anyway, see how dark that is, you guys? That is super dark right there. You can barely see anything, and then I'll pull up the see the difference in color and everything. Like I had to play with it a long time to try and get it to where it was visible at all. It looks like that's blonde hair maybe right there. I can't tell if those are tattoos right here, but that's clearly Sunny D. I don't know what this is.
And that's that picture behind them that says city on it.
Yeah, that's important because where do we know that
it
even
does look
has
like
that?
a beer pong table, actually.
Maybe.
It looks kind of like a long table. So I wanted to see the messages surrounding that video.
Oh, sorry. Hang on.
So we could see if there's more context clues.
Okay. So
the case is a train wreck.
Not giving. There's more games. This is her trying to get him to believe that what you said. What?
Go ahead.
She's trying to get him to believe that it's Bryan or additional people.
Is this right before the video?
I don't know yet. I'm not sure. The person who gave me that Linda Lane deleted their account. That's so shady.
It is.
We called Kane. This is a clip of the audio she has from Linda Lane party. Okay. She's inside at the moment. She's got 25 minutes of this, and then they went outside. What is that? What does that outside mean, though? I'm
Remember
confused.
Dot's story? Heather said that she believed it was supposedly Dot taking this video.
Uh-huh.
Dot's story was that she was partying that night nearby 1122 King Road, came out of the house and saw people behind 1122 King Road, like 4 people. Um, and I'm assuming that's what she's talking about.
Okay, so what's this video for? They're just
Supposedly,
offering it as proof that she was out somewhere that night? That sounds really weird.
yeah, I have no idea.
I wouldn't if I knew that, I wouldn't have even put as much time into these as I did. Jeez, you know? I did everything with this video. I turned it around backwards, I sped it up, I slowed it down, I disconnected the audio, I edited the audio, I fixed the audio, I tried to split the audio. I did so much. All right, so she says she's inside at the moment. She's got 25 minutes, but to confirm the party was from 1:30 to 3-ish. 3:30, the music was bumping loud and you can hear, and she heard Charlie like there that night. It's a neighbor and her boyfriend. They're always fighting, and she remembers hearing Charlie that night, but you can't hear the house party at 3 to 4 a.m. So source Dot thinks that the audio is yeah, it is messed up. I know you're mad at me. Okay, I don't wanna that's weird. I know you're mad at me. Like they're in a relationship. Steve, I am truly so sorry. I'm not sure nonsense or ridiculous rumors you've heard from my haters, but yes, I made a huge mistake. During my live, I shared my call between Rory and myself, and 13:30, I had completely forgot. I said that online sleuth trying to help the Idaho case work with Steve, literally. Okay, so what? He just stopped talking to her after that?
I guess so.
Good. Good for him then. I don't know if that's real, but good for him. So, interesting, right? Interesting. Um, all right, so let's go back to it here. Now,
So Rory refers to "Thou shalt not kill" true crime, which I don't think is making content anymore, but that's someone who talked to Dot, like he was involved in all the Dot stuff.
yeah,
But yeah, Dot, I mean, it sounds like Brat believes she was somebody else and was calling herself Dot, but was actually some girl named Bridget. But I mean, th- Dot had slips, with the camera, like, and you saw who was actually behind the screen. Um, it was a catfish.
yeah,
Like, there's no doubt about it. It's everything she said. You can throw it out the window. It's all trash.
yeah. I mean, even if for whatever reason it wasn't trash, the reliability around her, just because of how the situation was happening, is null and void, is null and void. Um,
Right. The video may not matter like at all. Especially if it came from Dot. It probably means nothing.
yeah, yeah. They said multiple people have said in this case that that's not the 1122 house, but I don't think that was ever in question, was it? Or is that? I don't remember. I think maybe it's another video actually.
What? I thought that was supposed to be right across the street from 1122 King Road.
Someone was commenting saying that that's actually like down a little bit,
Oh,
but
okay.
I haven't hopped in there to verify every single one of these posts or anything. I mean, the images or anything like that. The few that I did do, there's some major mistakes in here, you guys. Like, there's one part in here she's talking about the black Jeep and showing that the black Jeep was on fire, but it's not a Jeep. It's actually a Kia Soul. So I don't, I don't know if they're connected at all.
Yes, that is right, Jennifer. The 4chan posts do mention a Bridget.
Yes, they do. Yep, they sure do. Yep.
Yeah, the Kia Soul thing is weird because it's so obviously not a Jeep.
Yeah, yeah. And he says, I hate this gag order. It makes it so hard to know what is real. I remember when Fry would just say both Jacks have been cleared. We don't get that information anymore. Jack did a lie detector and he gave his DNA. Okay. So you know what's really interesting, you guys? Do you want to know one type of person that can pass a lie detector no matter what?
Hmm?
A sociopath. Because a sociopath feels things differently. So like why you would be using a lie detector test in a case where it's very likely that a sociopath conducted this crime, I just don't see a lot of benefit there, you know?
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
I mean, people still put a lot of stake in lie detectors.
I mean, then yeah. Yeah. I know that when you become a law enforcement officer, they put you through lie detector, the polygraph. Thank you, Tom. The polygraphs. And they ask you things like, you know, have you ever had terrorist thoughts? Have you ever been like anti-America? And all this, like hundreds and hundreds of questions. And you got to do it at multiple times too. But in a case like this where you're looking for somebody that more than likely is a sociopath, that more than likely is a psychopath, I just have a hard time understanding why that would be your go-to, you know?
Yeah.
Those cameras also show him entering his house, talking about Jack, and going to bed. I mean, it doesn't show him going to bed, but at least entering the house. He could get there he could get to their house without being on camera, or at least not very easily. Bryan Kohberger is toast over the cast via cell traces and grand jury members. Man, the prosecution doesn't even have the cast report, you guys. They don't have it
Right?
unless the prosecution is lying to the defense, which could be possible. They drag their feet as much as they can because trial by ambush is so successful, but they claim that the peer review is not done. So how at this time could he know if Bryan Kohberger was toast?
I mean, I think the PCA, a lot of people believe the cell tower pings are going to be and the
I know.
metadata are going
Well, the
to.
metadata is a different story. That's
No, you're right. That
yeah.
is good. But people still believe the cell tower pings are going to create a slam dunk case. They're not. I think metadata and background application data could. It
Yeah.
potentially could make a slam dunk case.
I want to be clear with everyone too, because I made a couple comments yesterday about the cell phone towers. So there are 4 towers in Moscow, but one of them is really far north,
Ugh.
debatably on the outside of the Moscow line. Okay. It doesn't cover any of where the house is. Then there's one real tower really far south that does cover a large distance. Then you have a micro cell tower on top of the water tower, and then a micro or mini cell tower on top of Theophilus Tower. Okay, so there are never 4 towers overlapping to allow there to be cell phone triangulation. Because remember, the towers have to overlap, you guys. And the mini cell towers aren't it. They said they shouldn't have even called them as witnesses.
Mm-hmm. And all the pictures of the cell tower stuff is in our cell data video. All that stuff is in there. You put a lot of pictures in there. I find that interesting though. The thing is I thought they didn't testify at the grand jury.
I think Dylan did.
Only Dylan?
Yeah. And if you guys are hanging out with us and having a good time, we appreciate you. We're super stoked that you're here. Please hit that like button. And it does so much for the show, you guys, so much. And it's free. It just takes a second. Hit that like button. And then when you get a chance, leave a comment. Comments and likes do everything for a channel. They are so important, you guys. They're honestly, you know, more important to videos in a channel than probably even like, you know, any monetary help or anything like that. So just hitting that like button and leaving a comment would be awesome. And we appreciate you guys for that.
Yeah. So it's just, he's saying they and them.
Oh, good call. Yeah, you're right. You're right. But Bethany refused to come up. That's why I keep saying that I think it's only Dylan. Bethany refused to come back up to Idaho.
Right.
So was a statement made over Zoom? I don't know.
Oh, so maybe they did both testify.
Maybe.
Hmm.
And they said they shouldn't have even called them as witnesses. Well, I think that shows that their case is not very strong, my friends. Right?
I don't know.
There's too many gaps and there's too many holes, okay? So if we use Dylan Mortensen's story, okay? How, when you pair the timeline and Dylan Mortensen's story, could Bryan Kohberger, in this scenario, let's say Bryan Kohberger's guilty. How could Bryan Kohberger come in, do the crime, and be seen walking out clean?
Right.
How?
Not possible.
It's not possible. It's not possible.
Unless he wore some kind of like, you know, like a very loose plastic suit that like had elastic.
That would sound like what I'm wearing. Like,
yes. And it's all over him everywhere, and it's real puffy, and then has like elastic right here, so only his face, and then like he did it in that, and then he took it off inside out.
Yeah, I know we talked about this a lot, but where did he put it on?
Like a snake shedding skin, just peeling.
Where did he put it on? Then, you know?
Maybe that's why Kaylee said somebody's here. I think somebody's here because she heard like bags, bag man, you know?
I don't know. It's such a hard one, man. It's such a hard one. In my opinion, I doubt anything that has came from Dylan Mortensen, and not because I am anti Dylan Mortensen, not because I'm trying to say for sure there's something there. They have questions they got to answer 100%, no doubt. There are questions that need to be answered by these two women, okay? But it just doesn't, the story doesn't add up. Even if you use her story, you have somebody that went through one of the most traumatic things ever that she's claiming. But within that trauma, she not only didn't call for 8 hours but she also got an eyewitness account of an individual. It just doesn't add up, you guys. And the human mind is not reliable in a trauma response. We are not reliable. Humans are not reliable with our own memory in a trauma response. Now we're going to ask her to come back to court over a year, over 2 years, over 3 years after and give a reliable testimony. I just don't see it happening.
Oh, whoever did this had to have been covered. You know, like they think about that. It's 4 people and we know at least 2 of them fought.
Yeah,
Like there's
I
no
know.
way. But
The only thing I have a question about is the shoes, right? Could you get a Dickies suit? Yeah. Could you put gloves over the arm part of the Dickies suit to make it tight? Yeah, you could do that. What about the shoes?
yeah, and I'm not saying they were like drenched, like they were had a bucket dumped on them. But they would have splatter.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. It
And
would
the
be
shoes,
dripping. But so,
what do you mean by like what would they do with the shoes? What about just the booties that you put over shoes?
I mean, I guess they're still open on the top. Booties,
No?
yeah, booties have an opening that is like a U at the top. Yeah. I just don't see a way is all I'm getting at. I just don't see a way. I don't. I gotta use the restroom though.
It's also like disrobing from all of that, like all that stuff takes time. Oh, my neck is hurting so bad. Yes, we know it's spatter. But in the video, we left it as splatter because it's better for the algorithm. There's quotes there with splatter evidence because of the algorithm. YouTube really does not like vital fluids. I think there's no way the body is removed. I'm up for corrections. J-Ray corrects me all the time. I'm just letting you guys know. 'Cause YouTube really does not like, even that being mentioned, um, I guess it's considered gore, you know? So no, I have a lot of neck problems from, car wreck, like a car wreck that I got in a long time ago, and it's been messed up ever since. So if I sleep with my head crooked a little bit too much to the side or any which way, it'll throw it off. Or if I'm, been sick and laying around a lot. Yeah, I don't think they could have ever been moved, and the lividity would tell the investigators, like, they could tell they were moved, based on and lividity just refers to, like, how the blood essentially settles with gravity, um, in the body, and moving somebody within, after their death, like, it can definitely, change that, like, they will see it. Yeah, Brendan is really he broke Brendan broke his back. I have a messed up neck, he has a messed up back. His is from riding motorcycles, though, mine's not. Mine's from riding in the backseat of a car with somebody who should not have been driving. Yeah, I think even with a booty, there is a possibility they could still get a print from a sole of a shoe. I definitely think that too. Don't you? that you could still get a shoe print even wearing a bootie?
Um, yeah, probably.
For
I think
sure.
so. Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
I've been doing a little bit of research onto about latent shoe prints, and you can get a latent shoe print with absolutely nothing on it just from the static charge of the shoe. Did you know
Really?
that? Yeah.
What?
I know, weird,
I
but
didn't know that.
it doesn't make sense why it would be there and not other places. I don't know if it has something to do with some kind of carpet or something, like if you walk on carpet, creates some kind of static something. I don't know. I need to do more research before you
I
guys
gotta
listen to me.
I gotta stretch really quick. My neck is hurting really bad right now.
All right. Yeah. But these are interesting still, you guys. And Murphy was barking and growling for about 10 minutes. Then he stops and the white car takes off. Now this white car is the one in question where we have people saying that there is a sunroof and there isn't. And looks like we got Cynthia coming through. Maybe you need a neck massager for your office chair. That would be awesome. I do need one. I've always wanted a massage chair in my car. I think that would be really cool. But maybe it would be dangerous with your foot on the gas and you're having like, you know, a calf massage or something like that. I'll tell Malia when she comes back. But what's interesting is if there is a video that's 10 minutes, Murphy barking and growling for 10 minutes, and then stops and the white car takes off. Is that what we saw investigators do this about? You know what I mean? Imagine being an investigator and um you watch a video where a dog is barking and growling, and then you see a white car take off, okay? You just see it speed right by. You think you're on to something then. Now imagine that is an investigator that doesn't have a ton of experience with crime scene investigations. Interesting. They said Murphy was a scaredy cat and would probably have run and hid, and he wasn't a barker. I'm curious to see the videos, you guys. I really, really am curious to see that. Yeah, that 2013 Hyundai Elantra found in Eugene. I know. It had a sunroof. I know.
And tinted windows.
And tinted windows. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think this case is as straightforward as we have been led to believe. And I think what we're seeing in the court and what we saw yesterday in the courtroom, where now for 3 court hearings, okay, 3 court hearings, we have Bill Thompson and Ann Taylor sticking up for Bill Thompson, saying it's not his fault, you guys. It is not this man's fault, okay? He's doing everything he can. And Bill Thompson, did you hear Bill Thompson talk about the importance of making sure Bryan's rights are respected too? Like it, you guys, that's not normal behavior from a prosecutor. And a prosecutor is normally on the attack, okay? If you have a rock solid case, 100% concrete, bam, like you got it, that there's no way you're going to see that. They are going to be leading the conversation in the case. They are going to be grabbing the bull by the horns and leading the case. I think he's worried. I really do. That's just opinion. It's very subjective. There's no objective facts behind it, but besides the way that he's acting in court. But you can't really tell anything scientific or objective from the way he's acting. But I think he's worried. I do. I think he's worried. And the fact that he's claiming he doesn't have all the discovery, I mean, they were really leaning on that triangulation, and they're claiming they don't have it.
Yeah. And thank you, Cynthia. Yeah, maybe I do need a neck massager. um, but what did you just say? I forgot what I was saying.
Just about how Bill Thompson has been acting the last few hearings, how
Oh
like,
yeah.
you know, the first hearings when we saw him, he was a very different person, very, very different person
agree.
on the attack and coming at this hard. I think something's changed. I'm telling you,
It does
something's changed.
It feels like there's a shift in both sides.
Yeah, I think Anne's trying to. I truly feel like she's trying to be good faith and protect him. I do. I really do. And that's why I brought up what I brought up yesterday about that video that we watched where prosecutors said how uncomfortable and how awful it is when you are a prosecutor and you realize something's wrong in the case.
Yeah, why protect him? Protecting a prosecutor is at the detriment of your client. She should not be doing that.
I mean, is it? I mean, does it really
Yes,
hurt
it
Bryan?
absolutely is at the detriment of Bryan.
I don't know if it is.
It absolutely is.
How?
What do you mean? If there's issues in the case, you call it out blunt.
Yeah, the
You
evidence
do not try to
convicts somebody,
sugarcoat it
though.
and not make the argument to actually make yourself heard that this is a major issue. Not, it's okay, I know he's trying his best. Like, no.
Maybe, but
That is at the detriment of Bryan.
I don't know if it is. Just because evidence convicts, right? Not always, but it should be the evidence convicts.
Okay, we're talking about humans here, so unfortunately that's not always true.
Yeah, I get that, but I just don't see making him specifically look bad when I've said this from the beginning, and you've heard me say it, that I wonder if Bill Thompson has been handed a giant pile of doo-doo. What are you supposed to do as a prosecutor?
Right.
What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, I don't know.
Tell the state, sorry, dudes, can't do it.
I mean, I felt like maybe she was trying to stroke his ego, because like, you know, you catch more flies with honey or whatever, more bees with honey, whatever the saying is. I can never remember these sayings. I always try to say them and I'm like, I don't know what that saying is.
I think it's
But you know what I
like,
mean.
yeah. Catch more butterflies with mustard.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think that could possibly be what's going on too, but maybe you're right. And maybe protecting him means he will help her out. I just don't see that happening.
I
don't think the state can just lose this case.
I think they got to put their best foot forward. But look, I think Ann Taylor is intentionally dropping and using words in certain ways because she said multiple times acquittal, right? So there's something going on there. And I think that the goal is to release this evidence in January and have the state be like, oh shoot, we're in trouble.
You know, I made the argument yesterday that, you know, there's been a lot of prosecutors that have like decided, okay, I feel like this case isn't good enough. I'm just not going to prosecute it. And I wonder, does Bill even feel like he could do that? Like you said, like you were like,
No
there's
way.
no way he could do that. And
No.
I was thinking, well, maybe I would hope that a prosecutor would have more integrity than that.
I don't think he would be allowed to. You got to understand how many agencies he's throwing under the bus by doing that. We just heard Judge talk about the amount of agencies that he's having to work with.
How is he throwing them under the bus?
Because if this case gets thrown out, it is all those agencies' fault for even going this direction in the first place.
Yeah, nobody's gonna fault them.
What?
What,
Are
like,
you
what do you think? What do you
serious?
think's gonna happen to them?
They're gonna say, why would you make Bryan Kohberger a suspect when all the evidence is pointing everywhere else? Why would you say it's Bryan Kohberger's car when there's a white Hyundai Elantra with a clear and obvious moonroof? Yeah, that would look awful for every single law enforcement agency that's involved. The blame has to go somewhere. That's why I don't think that we're going to see it dropped. We're too far in. Do you not realize that all those agencies, how dumb they would feel? I would feel dumb.
Yeah, but there has to be more there than just feeling dumb. Like, you can't say
Oh,
the prosecutor won't
ego.
drop the case because all these agencies will feel dumb.
I I I would argue that all day long.
Yeah, I
Why do
wouldn't.
cops not admit they're wrong?
I mean, that is an issue. That is an
You know,
issue that they
why
don't.
do prosecutors not admit they're wrong? Why do judges continue to push and allow prosecutors to pursue suspects that have been proven not to be eligible suspects? I think that's a massive reason, a very obvious and massive reason. I don't think they would allow that to happen. It's going to make them look like the laughing stock.
Hmm.
They are gonna look ill-equipped. They're gonna look like they don't know what's going on. They have no idea how to be police officers. I don't think they can back out. Even if they wanted to. It's too far gone.
I don't know. I think it's possible that there's enough there that they think like I have no idea if Bryan is innocent or guilty. I don't commit either way. I try to keep an open mind, but I think it's possible that you have somebody who appears to be out of place and in the area, and he's the only one that you personally have evidence for as to committing the crime, and you believe he's got to be the guy. So I think that Bill could totally still think he's the guy and continue with pressing the charges and continuing with the trial, but not having all of the supporting evidence he needs.
I think anything's possible. I do. I think anything's possible.
Because
I don't know if I feel like that's
it's
likely.
his reputation too.
Uh, I don't know about that.
I'm curious, for a prosecutor, I would love to ask a prosecutor this. Is dismissing a case and saying, "Look, I'm dropping the charges. I don't feel like this is a good, strong case." And after this amount, I really want to ask a prosecutor this now.
Yeah, does it
So
look
any
worse on the
prosecutor,
prosecution or
yeah.
the investigators?
So any prosecutor, if there's ever a prosecutor watching this, please answer my question if you don't mind. But would it be just hypotheticals, if at this point in the in the pre-trial phase, okay, Bill Thompson were to decide that this case is not looking good. He's really nervous about it. He feels like there's not enough there to make the charges stick and to get a conviction, and that it could be overturned in appeal even if he were to succeed. Um because he doesn't feel like it's there. Like, and he's contemplating, should I just drop this? Does it look worse for him to lose the case? Like, to go to trial with half, gosh, with like not very great evidence, okay, not complete evidence, um,
Oh,
and lose?
yeah, it looks
Or
better to
does it
go to
look
trial.
better for him to dismiss the charges?
Okay. One of them, people have to take blame. The other one, Bryan Kohberger takes blame. Okay. If the state runs forward head first with this prosecution, even with horrible evidence, even with no evidence, even with, a giant pile of doo-doo case, then if the case ends up getting dropped, it's not at the fault of the prosecutors and the investigators. It's, well, it happens. That's part of having a jury. That's part of our judicial system. But dropping it is pointing blame at somebody. They're not going to drop it. Even if they have no evidence, they aren't going to drop it. Never going to happen.
What dropping it means you can reapply charges later.
I get you. I understand that. But dropping it means somebody is going to be at fault for getting this far to begin with. Somebody has to take the blame. If you think that our society is not a bunch of finger pointing blamers, like, it's going to be an uprising for anyone that's interested in this case. You can't just back out. You're too far gone. We are years into this. I'm kind of surprised you think it would be so easy to be like, oh, just kidding, guys.
I didn't say it would be easy.
Yeah, there's no backing out. We're going all the way.
So you think he's at the point of no return?
As soon as you put Bryan Kohberger forward as a suspect, we're at the point of no return.
Oh, I don't think so.
Dude, I don't understand how you think people don't take it personally having to admit they're wrong.
I've seen many other cases where charges were dismissed.
Not this size. You haven't. Not this size.
I mean, this case is an anomaly all the way around. So
yeah, not anything like this. You haven't. And very rarely do you see it in those other smaller cases too.
Yeah, you can back out in light of new evidence. I've seen it many times before, but you are right that this is a case that's on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of the true crime cases that is going to be talked about for a millennia,
Yeah.
It's gonna set precedents. It's literally reached across the world. The only other cases that are really like that are like Madeleine McCann, John Benet Ramsey. Like, there's some out there that are like that, clearly, but this is on a whole nother level.
Yeah. 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 Understand what they would have to do if they pulled the charges away. They would have to explain how they made such a mistake, and if their mistake is worth risking putting a quadruple homicide suspect back out on the street, because Bryan Kohberger would have to be released then.
I'm trying to, in my head, I'm wondering what's at stake if he were to back out. Well, I guess what would be at stake is that people would very much not feel closure. Okay. They would feel really upset. A lot of people believe Bryan is guilty. A lot. So they would feel like a murderer was being put loose on the streets. And I absolutely think people would go after him.
Yeah. I think it's very possible. I think it's very possible.
Actually, I think it might be dangerous to back out of the case. Like, literally dangerous.
I just think that ego has a lot more value than you're realizing it does. I think admitting fault and being wrong is a lot harder than you're making it seem like.
I mean, all I'm saying is I've seen it in many other cases where they were like, in light of new evidence, we decided this is not our man. We're moving on to a different theory of the case. I've seen it. But again, this situation is literally, it almost feels brand new almost, because this case is at such a level that
I just think
I
they
just
backed themselves into a corner. I don't think it has anything
true.
to do with being brand new. I think that the character assassination that has taken place has been intentional so far. I think 100% they believe that it was Bryan Kohberger due to what we were just talking about. I think that humans are dangerous when they believe in something and they're wrong. Okay. Myself included. When I believe something, do you guys think I'm going to let that thing go? No way. You guys have seen us, argue back and forth and debate back and forth. Like it's a dangerous thing to believe in what you're doing, right? And I think these cops believed Bryan Kohberger was guilty. I think some very key aspects of the investigation were missed that could have been exculpatory for Bryan Kohberger if he's innocent. Okay. And I'm guessing here. I'm completely guessing. I think that some very key exculpatory evidence could have been ignored or looked over because they thought, well, just around the next corner, we're going to get evidence. Just around the next corner, we're going to get evidence. We just need into his car, Judge. There's going to be a ton of evidence there because we saw the splatter, okay? And just around the next corner, and that next corner never came.
Yeah.
I don't think it did. But again, I don't know. I'm theorizing based on the problematic PCA that we currently have now. And I truly have no idea if Bryan Kohberger is innocent or not. I have no idea because I don't have all the puzzle pieces. But if what we're seeing now is the totality of what we're seeing without any very clear and obvious evidence that, this is Bryan Kohberger and this is his car. It's not some white Elantra with no front license plate, like, all these other Elantras with a front license. Like, you can literally see him. Look, I will be very happy to say Bryan Kohberger's guilty. He is guilty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to make sure the chat was okay.
Yeah. So the grand jury, isn't this interesting? They told the author they wanted to go inside the house and hear things firsthand.
Wait. That's what I was gonna say before I had to check on the chat. So here's one thing I wanted to mention to you while we were on that topic, and then we'll go back to this. So in the what's his name? Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell's case, the prosecution asked to amend the indictment, and it is a grand jury indictment.
Wait,
So
say that
they
one more
asked
time?
to amend the
Okay,
charges,
yeah.
the language in the grand jury indictment that the grand jurors signed off on.
No way.
They and that is not allowed anywhere in the United States except Idaho.
No
Idaho
way.
is the only state that allows that to happen. And Scott Reich, this is the video I was watching of him, and I suggest him. I don't agree with him honestly a lot, but this was really interesting when he brought this up. They took the old grand jury indictment signature, they wrote up the new one and just copy and pasted the signature to the bottom. They don't have to have grand jurors look it over.
What?
They don't have to have grand jurors approve it. It's up to the judge.
That's so shady.
That's not allowed anywhere except Idaho.
How is that allowed?
He went through it piece by piece and showed what was changed, and I can't remember all what was changed. But again, I suggest Scott Reich's video. He's a defense lawyer on YouTube.
How is that allowed?
I don't know.
Do you guys understand what she's saying? So the grand jury, the conclusion of the grand jury, right? There's a statement they all agree on and they sign like, yes, hey, we're co-signing that you can move forward with these charges. Well, in Idaho, they're allowed to take that statement that those grand jury members signed themselves saying was correct, make amendments and changes to their statement that they personally signed themselves, and then copy and paste those signatures back onto it.
It's absurd. I have never heard anything like that done in a court of law, like, ever. That
That's insane.
the grand jury is citizens who are supposed to be investigating the investigation and approving of this indictment to make sure that it's fair, that this citizen is there's cause to, though we know it doesn't work that way. You can indict a ham sandwich with a grand jury, because it's really just a prosecutorial loophole now. It's literally just a way they can get an indictment and they can be like, "Hey, I need an indictment." And okay, here you go. But yeah, I can't believe that. Like that's just so wrong on so many levels to take the grand jurors' signatures and copy and paste them to the bottom of your new indictment that they didn't approve.
I am blown away.
I don't understand that.
I don't understand how legally you're allowed to change any document that has signatures on it, like co-signing that statement. I don't understand that. Yeah, Greg mentioned that Idaho has the third highest false conviction rate in America. Right now, that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it is forgery. Exactly, son. It absolutely is forgery.
Yeah.
And they're allowed to just legally commit that.
And shout out to Cynthia with the $5 super chat. Malia, you should be a lawyer.
Oh, thank you. My mom always said that. She said, I love to argue so much, I should go to school to be a lawyer.
But I am going to post all these, you guys. And for those of you that are here hanging out with us, we appreciate you. And we're super happy to have you here. Please hit that like button. And remember to leave a comment when you have a chance. It does huge things for the podcast, you guys. Huge, huge, huge things for the podcast. So we appreciate you. And it's also the same road where a white car with the sunroof turns around.
What?
Oh, he's talking about the BMW. But yeah, we would appreciate that big time. And just remember to keep an eye out for these, you guys. I am going to what is that? I'm going to post these at 10%. I don't even think I've read all of them yet, but I've read a lot of them. So,
I think there's good lawyers out there. I take it as a compliment, Cynthia. There's lawyers out there who care. Unfortunately, there's a lot who don't, but you know, it's people. Humans are going to human.
Yep. Yeah, I take it as a compliment. I think that's a compliment. We just want to make sure the cops are doing their job. I hear you. If this is Steve Goncalves, I'm right there with you, my friend. I just want to make sure the cops are doing their job. This never should happen. So interesting. Yep. Interesting. But so what do you think about what was that other topic we talked about in here?
Please like the stream if you guys have not liked it yet.
Okay, so he is toast, but someone might have played a part helping, but seems too risky for him to do that. People will always talk. So that's interesting. You know how many times we've seen Steve Goncalves come out and not act like he's 100% sure that Bryan Kohberger was the only one or acted alone. That could add some weight to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, someone else being involved would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree. It would make a lot of sense. I mean, it's hard for me to understand this being possible with one person. and no evidence. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 51 terabytes. But you guys remember that those 51 terabytes, I think, are done in a way to swamp the defense too, okay?
I
And that's normal tactics. That is normal courtroom
Dude, everything
tactics.
Anne has been describing in the hearing about how disorganized everything is and the volume of discovery at the same time. Like, she described it as like that 51 card pickup game or whatever she said.
She
I can't
said if
remember.
you take 100,000 decks of cards and played 52 card pickup and, you know, threw them all out on the floor, oh, and they're all the same decks, I have to go in there and find out which cards go to which deck and sort them all. That
I don't think you quoted her accurately, but yes, that's the gist of it.
Oh, I quoted her accurate.
No, you didn't.
Accurate.
You never quote accurately.
I mean, I think I do, okay?
I think I do too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the gist of it is and I feel like, don't you almost feel like that has to be intentional? I'm really curious what discovery typically looks like. Cuz I don't think it looks like that typically.
In my opinion, you know what I would think would fix this? I think that our judicial system should be allowed to use how the discovery's presentation was given from the prosecution to the defense or from the defense to the prosecution. I think that should be able to be used as evidence against the prosecution or the defense. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're the defense, okay? And not in, I guess we can use Kohberger's case, for example. But if I'm Ann Taylor, okay, and I'm having to deal with the absurdity of the discovery in this fashion, I think it would be fair to be able to say, hey, how can we trust the state's arguments? How can we trust the state's case when they're sending us the discovery in this jumbled up manner? Are we really supposed to pretend like these people are going to be able to be trustworthy people, that they're organized, that they even know which way is up when they can't even get me over discovery that's, you know, in a linear fashion? I think they should be able to be used as an argument against the opposing side. I think that would clean that up real quick.
That's what I'm saying, and that's exactly not what Anne's doing. She's
Hey,
saying it's
hey,
not his
VJ.
fault. It's not his fault.
Coming through with $2 super chat. Yes.
Yes,
You've
thank
just
you.
been activated. Yeah, I mean, they aren't allowed to use that against them, but I think that they should be able to. I really do. I really do. Because you know, the general public is the one paying for it in this situation, in my opinion.
Paying for what?
All the mishaps in this case.
I mean, yeah, the
People,
taxpayers pay for every bit of this
they
case.
they pay for every bit of it, but I'm more concerned with the physical safety. How do we know that these people in Idaho are safe right now? How do we know that there aren't other humans in jeopardy of being harmed right now? What if, just what if, the 4chan theory is real? Do you understand the implications of that? That 4 people could be involved in this case, and 4 people are equally staying quiet, like they have some kind of, you know, bond or blackmail over each other or whatever. 4 people that now were involved in one of the most heinous crimes ever, period, that we can remember, and they're staying quiet. They now have a taste for this. Like, can you imagine that? Do you understand that?
Yeah.
That's an issue.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That could be 4 different cities that you have people in it in the US that were able to take part in a crime where people were stabbed an unknown amount of times. 20, 30, 40. There's been speculation about the amount of overkill. Like,
I mean, if the rumors are true about the amount of overkill, bad. Like, it's real bad. What?
I hope you're playing, Mike. But yeah, I agree with you. I think it's scary. It's a scary idea. It's a scary idea. But what else we got in here? What else? What else? What do you guys think? You think that well, I got to use the restroom real quick.
Okay.
But find out what the general consensus of this chat is. Do you guys think this is real? I'll let this play through, okay? I'm just going to let it play through. You tell me if you think these are true or are not. I have no idea. I'm curious what you guys
You're
think.
posting this tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Where's the pad that you normally give me? The mouse pad.
Right there.
I think Brennan tripped and fell on his face while going to the bathroom. All right. Oh, am I pressing random things here? No. Yeah, I think a lot of people feel like these are fake. I still think there's a possibility that it's real. I think that possibility exists. Should I cast a poll, guys? I mean, if I'm being honest, a lot of what's in here is real, like, and things that really happened, and I mean, there's a lot of details in there that corroborate what they're saying, like, mentioning certain people's names and situations that have happened. Um, so again, I think there's a possibility that they're real, but I don't know. Okay, I'll do a poll. You can assure me they are real? I think the family, the Gonzalez family just got cut off, you know? I think they got cut off from information, because they were talking to the media a lot, and, they were hungry for it, they were looking everywhere they could, to find it, and maybe talk to people they really shouldn't have. Okay, I'll cast a poll. I gotta write it up here. Do you believe the Steve G leaked messages are real?
Did you stop here for a reason?
No, I did not. Well, I was just talking.
Yeah.
Interesting, Mimi.
Yeah, I think Steve has come out and said that he leaked some kind of footage, and look, I go back to being. I understand it, you guys. I get where he's coming from. I mean, I've never had a kid or lost a kid, but I can't imagine that you would be able to sit idle, sit on your hands, you know. Um,
All right, poll is live.
yeah. If they are real, I don't think they should have been presented in this way without someone's approval, but you know, they're out here now, you guys, so someone's got to talk about them. Hopefully we're just talking about it with respect, you know. That's my goal, because I don't believe there's nothing that can't be talked about.
People are saying there was a camera in the kitchen. I've heard somebody say that before, but I don't.
Yeah, I've seen that picture.
I'm not sure.
I just don't know. I'm not sure, but it's definitely interesting. It's interesting. There's some parts in here that are like really hot topics that, you know, we all speculated about why Steve said something in an interview. That actually makes me feel like it's less likely.
What?
It makes me feel like it's less likely, because there are some very key topics in here that Steve said in interviews. I
Why
think
does
that makes it less likely it's real,
but why?
because I think that it tends to lean more to be someone that wants these things to be real for gossip's sake.
Hmm. Interesting.
So, you know, there's some things in here that, like, word for word we heard him say in front of a camera.
Hmm.
Word for word, you know?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know, you guys, but I think it's worth talking about. I think it's important to talk about these things, because if we don't talk about them, you guys, then these are going to be out there in, you know, YouTube world, in the community, and people aren't going to know. You know, when I was trying to verify or validate some of these, I saw multiple Reddit posts having to do with these text messages, right? So people are curious about them. They are absolutely curious about them. I just think it's important to present them in the way that they really should be presented. We don't have either side, either person that was supposedly involved in this conversation coming out and saying, "Hey, this was me," and this other person saying, "Hey, it was me." You know what I mean? It could be faked. I want people to be clear here that it could be faked.
So interesting things. These Tara said these texts are 100% real. The Gonzalveses are the only ones who had the 1112 footage, and Mimi said it's too detailed and long to be fake. So many clues. I agree. It seems really excessively long and detailed to be a fake, but I think it is possible that somebody could go in, change their profile picture and their name, and then at the end when they click on, you know, his profile, just insert us, you know, clip that in with just video editing software to make it look like it really is truly his account, because that is his real account they show in this. So I think it's possible to fake these, but I mean the dates and everything, like I don't know, it's quite a long period of time. um, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm not sure. But the Gonzalveses are the only ones who had the 1112 footage. That is what I heard also.
I mean,
That they're the
police
only
had
ones
it.
who had that.
There's no way just them have it.
I mean, yeah, police, but you think police are leaking that?
I have no idea.
I don't think so.
I have no clue. I know. I
I
think
believe the
that the
Goncalves
police
has
are.
got it.
I think that the
First.
police are working with the prosecution, and I think every leak that has come out was due to the prosecution and or the police. Me personally, just because I look at who's benefiting here, and the prosecution is benefiting. So again, I think these are common tactics in our judicial system. Right, wrong, and different. It doesn't matter. We see it happen all the time. It's done all the time. So
Hmm? Marietta, I'm sorry to hear that. She said her daughter was killed by her boyfriend and only did 7 years in prison.
oh my gosh.
That's horrible.
That is horrible. That is horrible. It
I'm
makes
so sorry.
it reminds me of that law that's that came out in
Here, I'll post our email in the chat again. And Discord is one of the best places, by the way. We're a bit backed up on emails right now, but Discord is also a really good option if you want to post the Discord link.
yeah, I'll post the Discord link again. And remember, you guys, Discord is free, completely and totally free. Just a place where we all continue the conversation and share information and hang out. Yeah, it's a good time.
Oh, okay,
But you
Heather.
have to have an invite. What?
See, I thought the Goncalves got that footage first and handed it over to police, but Heather's saying that's not what happened, so I'm not sure.
It's interesting.
Mm-hmm. That could
Karma.
be helpful though in determining if they're real or not, if we could nail that down on what's true.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I am going to post these. And there's that not Jeep. All right, you guys. So that is the show tonight. We are going to post this video that you're watching right here tomorrow with the slower speed. All right. So you guys can easily pause, read, pause, read, pause, read. There's going to be no commentary on it or anything like that. You should just be able to glance through everything and read everything. All right. For those of you that are new here, welcome. We're super happy to have you. Hopefully you had a good time. Hopefully you don't mind hitting that like button for us. Yes, absolutely. Please hit that like button on the way out. It helps us so much more than you guys know. If you get a chance, leave a comment. As soon as we're done being live, it makes it available to comment on here. So we would appreciate that a ton. All of our social media was posted in the beginning. And for anyone else, we are now transitioning into the members chat where we switch over at the end of the stream, have some personal direct conversations with the chat. It's a good time. So let me post that real quick for you guys. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. And for anyone that's new, we actually give away a lot of
Memberships, yes. We
Yeah.
love to give them away.
We do. So that even if you're somebody you're not in the position or you don't like putting your credit card information on here, completely understand it. We want you guys to be able to take part in it with us still. So we try and give away quite a few every month, so everyone gets a chance to join to see if it's something you would like to continue. We never want people to feel like we're out here trying to hound you for money. That's not our goal. It'll come in when it comes in. You know what I mean? And yes, Celtic. coming through with I Love Wicker Park, Chicago, baby, Chicagoland. All right. We appreciate you for that one. I just posted the members link. If you would like to join to continue the conversation, please do. If not, we will be back live on Sunday. We are live every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. On Fridays, we put out our long podcast, what do I normally say? Long forum podcast.
I have no idea why you say forum.
Long form podcast. I believe it's episode 31 coming out tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. And we will be putting this video out there tomorrow. We thank everyone for hanging out with us tonight on the True Crime Talk Show. My name's Brendan.
And I'm Malia. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you Sunday night. Have a great weekend.
We're going to
and stay safe
over here. Hang on one second. It takes
members.
Make
sure you switch over to the members only so we can have a conversation.
Yes. Wait, hang on. I'm going to try and post the link here real quick so that people can have it. Is it on here? No, it's not on here. Wait. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. There we go, you guys. There we go. Bam. All right. So that is the link. And we are switching over here now.
You are so slow.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.